Good afternoon, everybody out there in Coolest Coastland. As you see from this, here, I'm going to pull that up again. Today, we are talking with CASA. And if you don't know what CASA is, you're about to find out. And unfortunately, the other two ladies didn't make it, but that's all right. We've got Darian here. Hello, good afternoon, Darian.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So, first of all, let's tell everybody who you are and what we're talking about today. What is CASA?
I said my name is Darian Kutarabic. I'm the advocate coordinator at CASA of East Central Wisconsin. Our office is here in Manitowoc, but we just regionalized down into Sheboygan, so we're going to be able to serve kids down there as well. So what is CASA? Our mission is that we provide and support specially trained specially trained court-appointed special advocates. That's what the acronym of CASA stands for. And we act solely in the best interest of children that have experienced abuse and neglect, and they've been deemed in need of protection by the court. And so we help ensure that they have a safe and permanent home and the opportunity to thrive. Our volunteers meet with the kiddos, and they're able to report back to the court how they're doing, what their needs are. And it's really cool because studies have shown that kids with a CASA, a consistent, stable adult in their life that's looking out for their best interests, are more likely to succeed in school, and less likely to, I think sometimes people talk about, like the foster care to prison pipeline, or other aspects of a person in foster care's life. And so having a CASA present is just really helpful because we're able to help identify those needs, and we act as an extra set of eyes and ears for the court.
So really, we're talking about today, people out there listening, one of the most important things, truly, because I think our children are the most important thing for our future and our society moving forward. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the kids. This is all about the kiddos. This is all about them and advocating for their needs. What type of children are you dealing with? What type of situations, if you could just hit on that? Who is being served by CASA? Is it just minors? Is it a certain age group? Those type of things.
Yeah, so in order for a CASA to be ordered by a judge, they have to be deemed in need of protection, and they're put under what is called a CHIPS order. And that stands for Child in Need of Protection and Services. Right now, that looks like minors, 18 and younger. However, we have a lot of kids who end up aging out of the system, and more so even across the country that is happening. And so actually our CASA program is part of a pilot program to extend beyond the age of 18. So we're really in the beginning works of that. So in the future, it will maybe extend beyond, especially if kids are getting out and they need to learn those independent skills, and that'll look a little bit more like mentoring than advocacy. But right now, with our open positions, the volunteer opportunity, we would be working with a child 18 or younger.
Sure. And we've got a comment here I'm going to throw up on the screen from our friend Teresa. Says, thanks for all you do, CASA Manitowoc. So I've known about CASA for a while, and I absolutely adore you guys and what you're doing. I think it's super important, and I love the idea of a continuum of care, almost, to borrow a healthcare phrase, taking a child and mentoring them through life, because a lot of these children, it's not their choice. And it's not, they a lot of times don't know how to advocate for themselves. They come from maybe an abused home or abusive home or something like that. And they can confide in a CASA to advocate for what they need. Is that correct?
That is correct. And if I could add this, so, our social welfare system is overburdened. It's a crisis, what is going on. And normally, I would say, I think the average of foster kids is technically in foster care, I think about 3 years. And so what's really, one of the things that we talk about a lot in CASA is, being in the system for 3 years, it's usually pretty unlikely that child is just going to be in one foster home. I think that the average is typically kids are in 2 to 3 foster homes during their time in foster care. But a CASA once we're assigned, and we're there with them until they achieve that a permanency or essentially age out. But permanency is what we want. But so the CASA advocate follows the child to every placement they have. So they're kind of just that one person that is consistent and always there. And that's so important. And it allows them to know that foster care, being in foster care, that's a really difficult thing. And as a child, I can't imagine what goes through their head. So having a consistent adult is extremely helpful for them.
What an amazing service, and what need. And I want to talk about the need before we talk about an event coming up. We spoke before we went live here, and I remember last year I helped you guys out with a video and did some other things. And you said there was a waiting list of maybe 35 people, 35 kids in need of services with the need of a CASA. And what is the need now? And I'm getting here sad because it's not good news.
Right. Um, I currently have over 100 children on my waiting list. There are over 100 children that are waiting for a CASA advocate right now. So the need is extremely high. I started in this position a year ago, and from September until March, the waiting list grew to be about 35. And we are in troubling times right now with the pandemic and things like that. And when our biggest school district, the Manitowoc Public School District, went back into in-person learning, that's kind of when the numbers started to skyrocket again. So I think that speaks a lot to who is reporting and how important it is for people to report. So yeah, our numbers right now, I don't know the exact number, but it is over 100.
So it's an extreme need out there, and people, everyday people, responsible adults. Maybe you've been through the foster care system. Maybe you've had some issues in your past life, or maybe you just care about kids. You're retired or something. I'm going to put a plug in here right away, Darian, because I think this is so important. You need to contact these folks and get involved. Get involved with your community, and this is a wonderful way to do it. And you guys are giving a program at the library. I just want to pull this up really quick. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, so we reached out to the Manitowoc Public Library and asked if they would partner with us on this event. The reason for this event is to start this dialogue and have this community conversation. And I feel that CASA is so supported in our community, but then there are still people that I come across that have no idea what CASA is. So we're hoping that this event will allow people, because it's virtual, so it's a virtual event. You don't have to go anywhere. You can watch it from home, and you'll be able to hear from me as the advocate coordinator, and I do also work directly with some kiddos, from our executive director, who is amazing and is also able to provide a lot of really helpful information. But then also from our volunteer advocates who are out there every week meeting with their child, or every other week, whatever that may look like, so that people can, get a real experience, more than just the staff that work here. I think I'm constantly about CASA, and it is so important to me, but this is also my job, and I think it's so helpful to be able to hear from the people who are volunteering their time to do this.
Correct. To see what people involved on the ground floor are doing, and what the interactions are like and how it works. I think it's such an important program for our community and so vital to the future of our community. A lot of children, and this really makes me sad, but a lot of children get lost in the system, and not everybody is blessed to have a CASA program in their community. And this is such a unique opportunity for kiddos in our community to have somebody advocate on their behalf. And a lot of these kiddos are coming from very troubled situations. So I just want to put up another comment here. Our friend Tim Gidzinski, excuse me, Tim, says, I'm incredibly excited and honored to be serving as a moderator for this virtual community conversation. So if anybody knows Tim, he does a great job and cares tremendously about this community. So once again, I want to just advocate for everybody to go to the Changing a Child's Story. You can see the information down here below me, a community conversation with CASA. on Tuesday, August 5th at 6 p.m. This is a virtual event, so all you have to do is go to the library, the Manitowoc Public Library Facebook page, and you can participate there. And this event is who's going to be presenting at the event, Darian?
Well, so like Tim said, he's going to be moderating it for us, and we're so grateful. But we also will be having Julie and I, who are our current 2 staff. We are growing, but it'll be us. And then we have just a few people who are of our advocates. So Nancy Henderson, Natasha Kahn, Jen Fodden, and then Lisa Stolp. And they all will be able to provide unique perspectives. So Natasha is one of our newest advocates, so she'll be able to really touch on the training and the process of becoming an advocate. And Lisa Stolp is our longest serving advocate. I think that she's been an advocate longer than our executive director has actually been working here, so over 10 years. And Jen Fodden, she currently is on our longest case. She's been with her kiddo, I think, for 6 years, which is not typical. It's not typical for a child to be in care that long, but we're grateful that she has stuck with him. And then Nancy Henderson is a retired teacher. She is also newer to CASA. She was sworn in last year. But they'll all be able to really touch on the experiences that they've had and answer any questions potentially that people could have about being an advocate.
Very cool. Here, we've got another comment from another person who's watching. Thank you for all you do, Darian and Julie.
Well, I would like to say thank you. Jeannie, she is another one of our advocates, and she's a great one. So thank you.
Excellent. So folks, get involved because this is an important thing. This is your community. Once again, the program is Changing a Child's Story, a community conversation with CASA, which will take place at our Manitowoc Public Library. Here, let me bring that up again, just so you know the date and time. Changing a Child's Story, a community conversation with CASA, Tuesday, October 5th at 6 p.m. And once again, that can be reached by just following the Manitowoc Public Library's Facebook page and engaging with them there. Thank you so much, Darian, for joining me today. And thank you so much for the important work that you and Julie and Jen and everybody involved and Jeannie and everybody involved with CASA. It really means a world to me to know that there are good people out there looking out for our kiddos in our community. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us again.
Awesome. Have a great afternoon.